So, to conclude, what can we practically do to work for secession, independence, and freedom? Be informed, be interceding, be involved. The very first steps to be taken towards secession, independence, and freedom requires us to be informed, to be interceding, and to be involved in being part of the solution in implementing biblical principles in all areas of life. We need to break free. Personally, if we want to be free and independent, we need to systematically break the shackles that bind us. Do not be dependent on the state. Do not be in bondage to the banks. Get out of debt. Do not be reliant on state structures, corrupt politicians, banksters, big pharma, and big tech. If we depend on them, then we're not free and we're not independent. Practical steps we can take for secession, independence, and freedom include education, not indoctrination. Secede from state indoctrination gulags. Ensure your children and grandchildren receive a real home-based education, not a state indoctrination. And that's why we set up Christian Liberty Books 26 years ago, to provide home education resources. Beware lest anyone cheat you through philosophy and empty deceit according to the traditions of men, according to the basic principles of this world, and not according to Christ. Entertainment, not exploitation. Secede from Hollywood exploitation and defilement. Why continue to allow cocaine-sniffing drug addicts, blaspheming antichrist pagans, pedophiles and predators like Harvey Weinstein to exploit entertainment to defile us with their degrading degeneracy? And in fact, all of the top stars in Hollywood and the entire industry there, with very few exceptions who get severely persecuted by them. But you can see the whole Academy Awards, it's run by crowds who've kissed the feet of old Harvey Weinstein and been involved with Jeffrey Epstein and all the others. The entire industry is corrupt through and through. It's as rotten as hell. Whatever things are true, whatever things are noble, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of good report, if there's any virtue, if there's anything praiseworthy, meditate on these things. That's the stand for education. Information, not disinformation. Secede from the mainstream, lamestream media. Instead of distraction from the real issues and deception from Sly Magazine, Newspeak, Useless News and World Report, the Communist News Network, the Bolshevik Broadcasting Corporation, the Sunday Crimes, choose rather to support alternative news media, real news, not fake news. Instead of receiving disinformation, distraction, we should support independent, alternative Christian news media, podcasts, websites, mail lists, social media platforms. Do not be conformed to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your minds, not the removal of your minds. Too many people think that Christians should have their minds removed. No, we're not meant to stick our mind in neutral. It's meant to be in gear, always. We need gyms for the mind. Libraries are gyms for the mind. Invest in home education. Build up a library of books and audiovisual resources which include examples of excellence and Bible-based solutions and a Christian worldview. The heart of him who has understanding seeks knowledge. We need to understand the times. We need to develop self-sufficiency. Become self-sufficient. Plant fruit trees if you can. If you've got a garden, cultivate a vegetable garden. Harvest rainwater from your roof. If feasible, invest in a borehole or solar panels, generators or a windmill. Build up a series of backups and alternatives so that in a time of crisis, your family can survive without relying on corrupt, crumbling, criminal state structures. It wasn't raining when Noah built the ark. And Joseph wisely used the 7 years of plenty to build up reserves for the 7 years of famine coming. A prudent man foresees evil and hides himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. Victory loves preparation. And be a good neighbor. Build a strong community network of mutual support using bartering and cooperation. Why let the government and the banks get a heavy section and proportion of every transaction you do? If you can just do transactions with farmers and producers and entrepreneurs that you can barter and swap goods and services, we can cut out the middlemen. Instead of just making the banks all rich, go back to, as much as possible, some kind of bartering, interconnection, co-ops between neighbors and farmers and friends. Join the neighborhood watch. Rotary Club, Scouts, or other community groups. Be a faithful member of your local congregation. Home Bible study, prayer fellowship, women's group, mother's group, men's group. These are the cohesions that hold together society. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. I mean, that should be the principle. Then develop self-defense skills. Take up a martial sport, such as fencing. We've made sure our boys did fencing and sword fighting. That's still my favorite sport. And archery and target shooting. In fact, we aim to please. It's so important that at a time of crisis, we know how to be fast and accurate. And it's important that all the family knows how to fight. Boxing, karate, kickboxing, mixed martial arts, judo, any martial sport, we need to know how to defend ourselves. We need to have this attitude of not being a victim waiting for somewhere to happen, but train and teach our friends and neighbors how to defend themselves so we can be a cohesive community. Watch, stand fast in the faith, be brave, be strong. It's terrible that so many Christians have become wimps and wets and doormats for the evil one. Join a group working for independence. There are groups working for self-determination, secession, Cape Exit, Cape Party, Cape Independence Action Group, AfroForum, Zuidlanders, Zuidland, USAF. There's good groups working for freedom, and we should support them. We should register to vote. If you're not registered to vote, if you're 17, you can register to vote. You can only vote at 18, but you should register to vote and vote for pro-independence parties. We are less than 5 months away from municipal elections, and let's make a stand. Let's vote for parties which are standing for independence for the Cape and lay foundations for freedom and get voices standing up in the municipality on our behalf. Exodus 18 verse 21 says, "Moreover, you shall select from all the people able men, capable men, such as fear God, men of truth, who hate dishonest gain, covetousness. Place such over them to be rulers." We should appoint as officials people who fear God and who hate corruption and who are capable. That should rule out most of the candidates. Be prepared. Obtain a security and survival handbook if you don't have it already. Work through its practical recommendations. If anyone does not provide for his own, and especially for those of his own household, he has denied the faith and is worse than an infidel, an unbeliever. We need to provide, and I'm sorry to say a lot of men are not providing, and certainly not in terms of protection and safety. We need to be sure that our family is safe and that they know how to respond in a crisis and how to defend our family. Know your history. What did Karl Marx say? The first battlefield is a rewriting of history. And so that's why I got so much into history, because I saw the Marxists are twisting history to guilt manipulate people and to gaslight people and to Stockholm Syndrome people. But if we know our own history, we will not be guilt manipulatable. And that's why I wrote books like Victorious Christians and Grey Century Missions and Grey Century Reformation, Sketches of South African History, because when you know your history, you can be inspired by examples of excellence, and you'll be able to resist the guilt manipulators and the Stockholm Syndrome, gaslighting, psychological guilt attempts to corrupt and conquer, confuse, divide, and conquer. The importance of history is reinforced in 1 Corinthians 10. Now, all these things happen to them as examples, and they're written down for your admonition. History, a lot of the Bible is history, and we need to learn from the history, and it'll save us a lot of grief. We need to secede. And that means don't listen to official government regulations. I mean, if you were to turn left at this point, it doesn't make sense. But that's just typical. There's a whole lot of government signs and instructions that you could lose your life if you took seriously. Secede from fake history, fake news, fake media, fake schools, fake religions, fake economics, fake narratives, false prophets, corrupt politicians. Do you notice how every year they've got some new scare? And it's just, the media is full of this nonsense. The scamdemics, plandemics, fake preachers, fake teachers. Secede from the false and from the corrupt. Yes, I mean, this is the way they were telling us coronavirus was at the beginning, and it looks awfully fake now. Now, remember when Bill Gates used to infect Windows computers with viruses so he could sell antivirus software? Have you ever wondered what he's doing these days? Yeah. You know, it is proven. Windows created the viruses, to force you to buy their software to counteract the viruses. And it rings a bell. Maybe that's applicable to something today. Maybe we can put our finger on it sometime. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. We need to support the good, the constructive, the positive, and the true. Invest in your mind. Read and obtain all the training you can, and invest in your children and grandchildren. And stretch your muscles. We've got Great Commission course coming up. It stretches muscles, minds, and it stretches one's vision. Put feet to your faith starting 25th of June. Investing in our children and our grandchildren is an investment in the future. Supporting Christian home-based education curriculums is one of the most important strategic, influential steps for reformation that anyone can possibly take. Of all the decisions my wife and I made, we think the best decisions we ever made was no TV and let's homeschool. I mean, those are two of the very best decisions we made. Ensuring that the next generation receives the training, the information, and the inspiration they need with great resources from great teachers. Support organizations that are resisting the New World Order. Ensure that you're registered to vote. Be informed, be inspired. Work together with other like-minded Christians. There's actions that we can all take part in. Be part of outreach, be part of the resistance, be part of the salt and light in the communities. Be committed to a free and independent Cape of Good Hope. We've got resources, got videos. If anyone hasn't seen the video case for Cape Independence, I've got the video out there. Cape Exit. Free the Cape. So don't just hope for a better life. You can vote for one in these upcoming municipal elections coming up in October.